everybody to do, I want everybody in here to start chewing with your mouth if you can. Just start chewing, all right? Now, what do you begin to think about when you begin to chew? Some of you all probably start thinking about that delicious blueberry cobbler that your grandmother makes. I know I start thinking about that delicious sweet potato pie. My mother has a delicious sweet potato pie that she makes at Thanksgiving. But we start thinking about what? We start thinking about food. We start thinking about what? What we eat. Now, ironic again, as was shared, my last name is Chew, C-H-E-W. And as I always say, going to give you something to chew on. Now, believe it or not, it gets more interesting. Actually, when I was a baby, I was actually adopted at birth into a family that had this last name, Chew. So I said I was born with a mission, born with a purpose, and born to change lives, one chew at a time. So just think about this. How much food does an average American eat every single year? An average American eats about 1,000 pounds of food every single year. You break it down, an average American probably spends about, let's say, $3 to $5 per pound for this food. So you spend $3,000 to $5,000 a year on your food. But going past this, the question that we want to ask ourselves is, why do we eat? Oh, I guess I like to say, why do we chew? You think about it, is that chewing literally is a scientific process. Now let's look at the human body. The human body is made up of about 66 chemical elements. They include boron, you have calcium in the bones, you have phosphorus, you have potassium, you have hydrogen, you have oxygen. Now, ironically, these same chemicals that make us up who we are is actually found, guess where? Inside of the soil. All of these things that make up the human body is found inside of the soil. So let me ask you a question. I'm going to give you two options to choose from. Let's say I had a delicious mango that came all the way from the Jamaican islands, man. And it literally it was dripping of its juice, and it was just right off of the tree. Or you had a choice to choose between a delicious pastry that came all the way from France, from a French pastry chef. It was filled with about 2 cups of white flour, 1 cup of butter, and about 1 cup of sugar. Which one would you choose? The sad reality is that some of us may not even know what a mango is today. And believe it or not, it's an actual reality. People don't know what fruits and vegetables are. You ask them, what is a cucumber? What is this avocado? They've never heard of it. So this mango, sadly to say, based on ignorance, a lot of times is not chosen, and many times the pastry would be the #1 choice because of its taste and its flavor. So we find that this pastry that we're choosing is what? It's malnourished. It doesn't have the nutrients and those, again, doesn't have those chemical elements that we need to build up our bodies. That mango is what? It's grown in the soil, and it provides the body with what it needs. Now here we see right here up on the screen, we have a brain. Now this brain, friends, has been attacked. And guess what it's been attacked by? I call it the junk food crisis. You find that the foods that we eat, it says we are what we eat. I like to say we are what we chew. Like my name, huh? So we are what we choose. So when we eat, the food that we eat actually makes the blood that we have. Again, it's a scientific process. So the blood that we have actually forms cells. So one of the most principal organs of our body, besides the heart, is our brain. It's the control center. So think about this. So when we eat our food, it makes blood, and it goes to make the neurons and the cells in our brain. If we eat bad food, what kind of brain do we get? I call it a junk brain. It's being attacked. Oh, no. Let's look next at a healthy brain. Now, I made a little song. I call it the Eating to Live song. Here you have a brain that's being nourished by the good food. The song goes like this. It says, fruits and grains and vegetables, nuts and seeds is all I need. It tastes so good to me. Let's not live to eat, but let's eat to live. So fruits and grains and vegetables. So here we sit, fruits and grains and vegetables, nuts and seeds, it's all I need. It tastes so good to me. Let's not live to eat, but guess what? Let's eat to live. All of these good foods, friends, come from the soil, and what does it do? It provides the body with what it needs. Now, what I've created, you find that many people who, when they think about healthy eating, it's like, this is not going to taste good. It's not going to be good for me. But today, friends, I am what I call a herbivore. I'm actually a vegan. You may have not heard of that term. I don't eat any meat, no eggs, no dairy, no cheese. I eat everything that is plant-based. And when I say that I'm a vegan, people look at me with a strange eye. especially in Northwest Arkansas. We're the chicken capital of the world. So here I come with this vegan, healthy food. It's like, man, what are you talking about? So I had to figure out a formula or a process to get an individual to transition from an unhealthy diet to a healthy diet. And what I call it the FE formula. I call it what? The FE formula. And we're going to break this down, the FE formula. And we have 2 F's, and then we have 2 E's. The first F stands for flavor. Now, when I come to somebody with a healthy dish of food, a person says, man, this is not going to taste good. Look at me with a strange eye. So I have to make sure that what? It has great flavor. Next, you have familiarity. The next F is familiarity. Now, again, imagine eating that pastry, and somebody gives you a healthy pastry, and it feels like a brick. You're like, man, I'm not going to eat it. It has to have what? Great texture, and also has to look like something you're familiar with. Sad to say, sometimes healthy food doesn't always come out the best. So it's not always something that someone wants to actually eat. So it has to be what? Familiar in its look, and it has to be familiar in its texture. Next, I have the E. We have the E, the first E. We say encouragement. Encouragement is so critical. Many times individuals may suffer from disease and they want to eat healthy, but they don't know where to begin. So you have to encourage an individual to want to have a change. Get them excited, sing songs, think about it, have fun. That's a very important ingredient. And lastly, the foundation, I like to say, is education. I always say we must educate, educate, educate. When you show an individual why and how, it gives them a reason for their existence. When they understand the why and the how, they want to do what? They want to live out this healthy lifestyle. So this is the principle that I utilize for my business. I'm actually the owner of a company called Something Better Foods International. And we specialize in giving healthy gourmet food and also lifestyle education. And I'm just going to show you how we put this into practice. And actually, as Chef Chu, as I said, I was born with a purpose and born with a mission. And I've actually become an inventor. And we've developed numerous foods over the years. In the last 7 years, I created one of my favorite products. I call this fake steak. So it looks like a steak, tastes like a steak, but guess what? It's not a steak. You actually, what does it make? What do you make it from? We make it from beans. They said, that's some bad beans. I tell you, it literally, when you look at the product, it has a look that's like what? Like steak. It has a texture like steak, and it tastes pretty good. It's pretty amazing. Now, if you go to the next slide, we're going to find that I make something, I call it after me. I call it my barbecue sauce. And again, I'm having fun. I'm making encouraging slogans, encouraging names, but giving people, again, a reason to want to eat this way. So you can make delicious wraps that are healthy. You can make pizzas. You can make stir fries. All the things that Americans love, you can actually make them in a way that can be healthy if you but learn how to do it. So here we're looking at what? The flavor. We're also looking at what? Familiarity. Our next slide, we have another actually cool item. This is our I call it my better than chicken. I learned and I invented a plant-based chicken. Now, again, we are in the chicken capital of the world. You say, man, what is this stuff? Look at this next. We have something called our friedless chicken. It says it looks like chicken, tastes like chicken, but guess what? It's not chicken. Crispy on the outside and white in the middle. Oh, it's delicious. So it's pretty cool. So again, what is it made from? It's made from plant-based sources. It's made from beans. Can you believe it? I make chicken from garbanzo beans. I make chicken from brown rice. I make chicken from soybeans, non-GMO soybeans. So I use natural products to make things taste good. Now here we see again flavor and familiarity, but we're looking next even further. What are we doing here right here in Northwest Arkansas? We can go to our next slide. Here we have right here we're in Ozark Natural Foods and Health Food Store. And what are we doing? We're teaching individuals and encouraging them how to eat healthy. We actually in this class we was making a delicious cheese, making cheese out of cashews and carrots. Can you believe you can make cheese out of cashews and carrots? It's amazing. So you can take healthy foods and healthy items and make things that doesn't have the cholesterol, doesn't have the fat, and all these bad things. Next, we also have another, you see right here, we have a class that we're doing inside of an individual's home right here in Northwest Arkansas. So again, we want to make it mobile. We want to go into people's lives showing them how to cook this way, how to eat better. Where when somebody says, listen, you've been diagnosed with diabetes or you've been diagnosed with heart disease, there's a way out. And what is the way out? Science has proven that eating a plant-based diet, a healthy diet, can literally reverse these lifestyle diseases. So the question is, where do we go from here? Now, there's one group I don't want to miss today. Right here in Arkansas, Arkansas has one of the leading states of childhood obesity. Statistics show that over 37% of our children in Arkansas are overweight or obese. That is astounding numbers. The national rate says it's 18% of our children are overweight or obese. This number has literally tripled in the last 2 decades. This number has literally tripled. We look at this here. I was actually, keep on going forward, I was actually at a convention, and I'm actually teaching kids how to make some healthy, delicious granola. Right here you see the next slide. I'm teaching a little kid how to mix the ingredients together. He's making granola, putting his sea salt and his raisin, his nuts and his oats, learning how to make the foods. You see him right here in the next slide, putting this together. They're mixing these ingredients, and these kids are excited about eating healthy. Now, again, can you blame a child for being obese or overweight? Is it their fault? Not at all. The fault lies with the parent and the one who is feeding that child. Now, I'm really excited. My first child will be born in about 120 days. I'm counting my hours. My wife's belly is just popping out. I'm like, man, she's looking at her belly like, man, this thing is getting bigger every single day. It's amazing. But in about 2,880 hours, my first son, Caleb, is going to be born. Sad reality is, the sad reality is that within this same time frame, 175,000 people will die from heart disease. 175,000 will die from heart disease. 40,000 will die from a stroke, and 20,000 is going to die from diabetes, all are which, lifestyle related and also preventable. So the thing is this, what can I do? As a parent, I have a time clock that I'm looking at. When my baby is born, I have to make a choice on how I am going to feed my son. And I'm here today to encourage each person in here to become a healthy eating ambassador. I want each person in here to become a healthy eating ambassador, meaning that we can give our children life or we can give them death. And I'm hoping that each of us will say that if we can change this cycle of death, by what? By giving our bodies what it needs, giving it more plant-based foods, more whole foods, more live foods. So I'm making a challenge to each of y'all today. Take one day out of the week and become an herbivore. Does that sound okay? Make one day out of the week and become an herbivore and see the benefits. Watch how you will be able to think better. Watch how you're going to actually, if you're trying to, we always say, we don't say nobody's fat. We always say we either overblessed or underblessed. So watch how you may lose some blessings, you know? And that's one of my friends who gave me that as well. But the point is that we can lose some of those blessings. And I tell you, friends, today is that it's possible, but we have to be encouraged. We have to be educated. And if you go in the kitchen, especially you mothers out there, start making some good foods. And even you guys who may not like to cook, go in the kitchen and see what you can do. So I'm encouraging y'all, let's choose life. My name is Chef Chew, and as I always say, going to give you something better to chew on. Thank you.